Hello everyone, I want to make a short video, sermon video today. I want to be in Exodus 3, 1 through 10 in the King James Version of the Bible. I think I might have I did make one audio about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, something like that. But I might have made a video, but if I did, you just pick out the one you like the best. But this was on my heart, so that's why I wanted to try to do it. And this says in Exodus 3, 1 through 10, Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And behold, he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. They had bushes like that in the desert that would catch on fire. The bush was oily. I don't remember what you call it. The heat was intense, and it would catch on fire. He had seen that before. What he hadn't saw, as near as I can determine, he hadn't seen a bush that burned that would not be consumed. So it caused him to turn aside and see. And Moses said, Now I will now turn aside and see this great sight, while the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush. He didn't call him until he turned back. And so if you keep on going on something, God gives you a glimpse of it, and you just keep on going, then he won't call you to it. And said Moses, and called him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. Now, it seemed like to me, God speaks like that. He said, Verily, verily. It seemed like it to me that it rings one time in heaven and it rings one time on earth. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not hither, put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the place wherein thou standest is holy ground. Lord, holy ground. It wasn't holy yesterday when I was tending these sheep. What makes it so holy today? Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmakers, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptian, and bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and a large, until a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people out of Israel out of Egypt. I've heard that, like when 9/11 happened, when the enemy is about to do something, we should have known. I think they did know that they have more chatter. They pick up more from the enemy on the wave, in the air, and so that's when you know you're doing good. People start squawking, I guess, and then you know that, and the enemy is in the midst of it squawking, and you know that it must be something he's wanting to stop you with. Moses was 80 years old when he started leading the children of Israel. He had 3 parts of his life. He lived to be, I think, 120. 40 years with the Egyptians, and then 40 years in Midian, and then 40 years leading the children of Israel. Don't say nothing about me getting plucked out of the waters like Moses did and taken to the palace. You don't know about what I floated through and had to dodge alligators until you've suffered what someone's suffered through, floated through what someone's floated through, survived what someone's survived through. Then you really don't know what it costs them. We don't need to be distracted and lose our focus. God pulled Moses out. Moses is blessed, but he's still confused. How can you be blessed and still be confused. He's stuck. He's neither Egyptian or Hebrew. And he looks out the window when he was in the palace, and he sees two men fighting, one a Hebrew and one an Egyptian. He is a Hebrew that was raised in Pharaoh's palace as an Egyptian, bilingual, I suppose. And he don't know if he's more Egyptian than he is Hebrew, or is he more Hebrew than he is Egyptian. But at that moment, when he saw those two men fighting, he realized that where his allegiance was to. And he went and killed the man and buried him in the sand. You know, when a critic takes time to take a shot at you, that signals that he must think that you're important or feel threatened. And it raises the bar for you and lowers it for him. When Moses saw the Egyptian and the Hebrew fighting, what was going on outside was a reflection of what was going on inside of him. And you ought to be happy. I've said before, I think everybody's happy. Some people just haven't notified their face yet, you know. We need to be happy. The reason some people are in conflict with you is because they're in conflict with themselves. They're not in. They don't, some people may not even like themselves, and that's why they don't like you. Proverbs 15:13 says, "A merry heart maketh a cheerful counsel. A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, and by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken." You know, if you was going to tear down a chicken coop, you might could do it with your foot. If you was going to tear down a building, a bigger structure, you might could do it with a backhoe or whatever they tear them down with. But if you were going to tear down a structure in New York City, you would need some dynamite because their roots their foundation goes down real deep. I don't want to have a sad countenance if that's a reflection of what's going on inside of me. I don't want that. If there's fighting on the outside, there's fighting on the inside. What you see on the outside is a reflection of what's going on the inside. Moses is trying to stop the conflict that's going on between the Hebrew and the Egyptian, and he can't even stop the conflict that's going on inside of him. Their conflict just brought to light, to surface, the conflict that was going on all the while within himself. Faced with the Egyptian fighting and the Hebrew fighting, he has to choose whose side he's on. He had an internal conflict which was now external. 40 years had not demanded that he make a choice, but now he's forced him off the fence to make a choice. You know, you ever tried to debate I try not to debate, but have you ever tried to debate a shallow person? After a while, you just say, "That's all right. It's all good. Don't worry about it. You know, just chill. It don't even matter because it's not going to change anybody." The chatter. Boy, you can start hearing that chatter. And if you get to working for the Lord, you will hear that chatter. That's what I came to tell you today. Don't let the chatter stop you. That's what the chatter's all about, is trying to stop you. And don't let it. Don't let the, you know, if the hounds hadn't been barking, I wouldn't have known where the treasure was. When you hear all that stuff kick up, you know that you must be getting close. The giants are at the gates. The Goliaths, they're at the gates. And all of that starts happening when you get closer. It's like I told you before, if you were at the White House and standing outside, nothing's going to happen to you. You can look at it all day long. But the moment you start advancing and getting closer to the White House, there's liable to be a voice come out of there and say, "Hey, you," uh, in the red and white check shirt, you've come far enough. So if you don't do nothing, that you probably not. But once you start trying to work for God, those bullets are going to start whizzing by your head. You don't even understand your own significance till you start hearing all the opposition. It schools me to understand that I must be more significant than I thought I was. And don't be distracted and lose your focus. When a critic takes time to take a shot at you, that signals he must think you're important or feel threatened. That raises, like I said, raises the bar for you and lowers it for him. And I just want to encourage people to keep going and not let the chatter stop it. You know, I've been in prison. You have too, I'm sure, if you've been on the way very long, and you never saw the bars. I've been in battle, the bullets whizzing by my head, and you never knew I was in a battle. I never knew when you were. And I've used this example many times, but if you was in York City and there was a man in a three-piece suit going along and a bag lady walking beside him, and there's robbers in the shadows and they're going to rob one of them, who do you think they would rob? I don't think they would rob the bag lady. They'd rob the man in a three-piece suit because they figure he's got something. The reason you've been attacked is because you're significant. You're more significant than you thought. So that's why it's happening. You underestimated yourself, and your enemy, he has estimated you on the right level. So, you know, I thought about the wheat and the tares. You know, the wheat. I've explained this before, I think, and this is my little simple mind's explanation. The wheat has fruit. The tares have no fruit. So after a while, they look the same. But after a while, the wheat has the fruit and it's producing, and it gets heavy and it starts bowing over. But the tares doesn't have anything, and it just keeps standing upright. They come in the fields, they know which one to pick. You can't have wheat without tares. You can't have friends without people taking shots at you. Have you calculated this in? You can't have people that admire your work without having people that's trying to hinder your work. You know, people send you good compliments. Well, there's many more that if they sent anything, it wouldn't be that. And and I know I'm sensitive, and I feel the same wounds, but we can't let ourselves get too sensitive, or we won't do anything. Your enemy will put you in a cage, and lock the door, and throw away the key. You got to keep on keeping on. People depending on us, not to let all of that bog us down. So I just thought about the chatter today, and I thought that we can't let it stop us. And I wanted to tell you not to let it stop you. So may God bless you. I've been giving my telephone number. It's 256-508-4410. And if you would, when you call, I might not get back to you right away, but I'll try to get back to you. And if you would, leave your name and number, or a little message. And I want you to know that I care about you very much. I'd like to help you. That's my I just feel like I'm a servant. Jesus, I think it said something to the effect that he didn't come to be ministered to, but to minister and give his life a ransom for many. So I've come to try to help you. So if you need me, let me know. And until next time, may God bless you.